It is 2 o'clock in the morning, and you are clinging to the absolute edge of your mattress. Your back is aching, your blanket has been entirely hijacked, and a heavy, warm paw is pressed firmly against your arm, pinning you in place. You might look at this midnight landscape and think your dog is just being stubborn, or greedy for warmth, or hopelessly spoiled. You might even laugh it off as a quirky little habit. But you would be entirely wrong. That heavy paw resting against your skin is not an accident, nor is it a simple bid for comfort. It is the physical manifestation of a multi-millennium evolutionary pact, a calculated neurological decision engineered by survival, and a direct window into a brain that has rewritten its own biology just to be near yours. By the time the sun rises, you will realize that this single touch is doing something to your own brain chemistry that you never saw coming. To truly understand why that paw is there, we have to look at how your dog views your relationship, which is far more profound than simple companionship. Researchers at Eötvös-Loránd University in Budapest decided to study this exact bond by applying a famous human psychological framework known as the Ainsworth-Strange situation. For decades, psychologists used this test to observe how human infants bond with their mothers, measuring things like proximity-seeking behavior, separation distress, and the immediate calm that washes over a baby upon reunion. When the Hungarian scientists ran the exact same tests on canines, the data revealed something staggering. 61% of the dogs tested displayed a perfectly secure attachment style to their owners. If that number sounds specific, it is because it represents the exact same statistical ratio found in human toddlers. When your dog places their paw on you in the dead of night, they are not acting like an animal marking territory. They are operating with the emotional architecture of a child, communicating through touch that you are the absolute center of their gravity and the safest entity in their entire world. This emotional security is not just a psychological concept. It is fueled by a real-time chemical loop running between your nervous system and theirs. A landmark study published in the journal Science, conducted by researchers at Asabu University in Japan, uncovered the exact biological feedback mechanism that powers this connection. It all begins with a gaze or a touch. When your dog looks into your eyes or rests a paw against your body, it triggers a massive surge of oxytocin, often called the bonding molecule, in your brain. As your oxytocin rises, you naturally soften, perhaps stroking their fur or looking back at them, which instantly triggers an identical spike of oxytocin in the dog's brain. It is a closed, self-reinforcing loop of chemical euphoria. To understand how miraculous this is, the researchers ran the same experiment with wolves, even those hand-raised by humans from birth, and the oxytocin loop simply did not activate. Wolves do not look to us for comfort, nor do they seek our touch to soothe their nerves. But your dog does, because a mere 10 minutes of this physical contact actively drops cortisol, the primary stress hormone in both species, physiologically prepping both of your bodies for deep, restorative sleep. This chemical wiring did not happen overnight. It was forged in the brutal winters of our deep evolutionary past. Take your mind back 15,000 years ago, long before the invention of agriculture, before the first cities were built, and before humans ever wrote a single word down. The world was a terrifying, predatory place, lit only by ancient campfires with wild wolf silhouettes lurking at the edge of the darkness. Our ancestors and the ancestors of our dogs formed an alliance born of mutual survival, a story beautifully illustrated by a 14,000-year-old burial site discovered in Germany. Discovered there were the remains of a young, sick dog who had survived for 5 weeks through the ravages of canine distemper, a disease that would have rendered it completely useless for hunting or protection. The only reason that dog survived as long as it did was because early humans painstakingly nursed it, sharing their scarce food and keeping it warm by the fire. The ancient humans cared for the dog, and the dog, in turn, watched the perimeter while they slept. This long history of shared nights permanently altered the canine genome. Geneticists have discovered that on chromosome 6, dogs carry specific genetic insertions for extreme hypersociability, mutations that are completely absent in wolves. Interestingly, these exact genetic markers in humans are responsible for Williams-Beuren syndrome, a condition characterized by exceptional friendliness and an intense desire to connect with others. Humans did not just domesticate dogs. We literally rewrote their DNA over thousands of generations so that they would possess an innate, genetic need for human presence. That paw on your arm at 2 in the morning is 15,000 years of evolutionary history whispering that the perimeter is safe, the fire is warm, and the pact is still alive. Yet, this beautiful arrangement presents a fascinating scientific paradox. Data from the Mayo Clinic shows that, objectively speaking, dogs disrupt human sleep cycles, causing us to wake up more frequently throughout the night due to their shifting positions. And yet, conflicting psychological data, including a comprehensive 2024 study from the University of Jyväskylä in Finland, reveals that dog owners consistently report feeling significantly more rested and less anxious when their dog sleeps in the bed with them. Science explains this contradiction through a phenomenon known as heart rate variability co-regulation. When a deeply bonded dog rests their body or paw against you, your autonomic nervous systems begin to mirror one another, literally synchronizing your heart rate rhythms with theirs. If an unfamiliar human or a stranger were to climb into your bed, your stress hormones would skyrocket, disrupting your rest entirely. But a bonded dog acts as a biological anchor, lowering your blood pressure and stabilizing your breathing, proving that comfort is not about spatial efficiency, it is about neurochemical safety. However, because this nocturnal bond is so deeply rooted in their biology, any sudden shift in this routine should immediately put you on high alert. If a dog who has spent years plastering themselves against your side suddenly stops sleeping on the bed, it is never a random choice. There are 2 urgent warnings every dog owner must understand. The first is hidden physical pain, a sudden reluctance to jump onto the mattress, or a newfound preference for the cold floor is often the very first detectable sign of osteoarthritis or silent joint deterioration, as the leap upward becomes too painful to bear. The second warning is even more profound. Approximately 35% of dogs over the age of 8 develop canine cognitive dysfunction, which is the canine equivalent of Alzheimer's disease. This condition systematically destroys their spatial memory and disrupts their circadian rhythms, leaving them pacing the hallways at night, confused by the very home they grew up in. When your dog changes their sleep behavior, they are not rejecting you. They are silently asking for help, requiring your ultimate compassion and quick medical attention. When you look down tonight at that heavy paw resting on your leg, or find yourself awkwardly contorted into the tiniest corner of the mattress, you will see the situation in a completely new light. Your dog did not end up there by accident or simple habit. Out of every person on this planet, out of every smell they encountered during the day, and out of every comfortable spot in your home, they actively chose you as their ultimate sanctuary. Drop a comment below and tell me, what percentage of the bed does your dog take up tonight? And if you think their sleep positions are telling, wait until you learn what is happening inside their brain when they simply stand there and stare directly into your eyes. Because the neuroscience behind that behavior is even more mind-bending than the secrets of the night.